Okay, so we're on to level 2, lesson 4. This one is called unison playing or unison hits. So something's in unison, it's together, basically. If you're singing in unison, everyone's singing at exactly the same time, and that's basically the same thing that we're going to do with our hits of the drums. So we're going to be looking at basically getting both sticks to hit at exactly the same time. Not a massive, well, it can be a massive issue, or not a massive issue, but an issue if you're doing it on one drum, because we have a drum rudiment called a flam, which we looked at the end of book 1, which is kind of like the complete opposite of a unison hit. They're kind of, the sticks are slightly hitting just after each other, whereas with a unison hit, it's a single hit at one time. So what we're going to do with our unison hits is we're going to be playing the low tom, or the floor tom, and the snare drum. We're going to start off with quarter notes, dead easy. Okay, what we're aiming for is both sticks to hit at exactly the same time. So we're getting that, okay, not that. So we're just going 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, pretty straightforward. We're going to then go to eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Then we're going to do the same thing with 16th notes. Now this can be an issue where if you go too fast, rather than it sounding like this, your weaker hand, which if you're right-handed is your left hand, and the opposite way around if you're left-handed, kind of gets left behind. So instead of it going like that, it kind of, they can kind of go out of sync like that. So keeping it nice and relaxed, again playing from your wrist, let the sticks bounce. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and then we can do the same thing with triplets. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. So the thing I like to do with this, get my pupils to do, is can I play through all of those? If I can get them on the screen, it's going to be pretty small. There we go, just about. Is to play quarter notes and straight into eighths, then into sixteenths, then into your triplets, then do your triplets again, then your sixteenths, then your eighths, then your quarters. You've got to make sure you don't start too fast on your quarters or have your metronome too fast, otherwise your sixteenths are going to be really fast. So I'm going to do it with a metronome at 60 beats per minute, so it's going to go something like this. So quarters, eighths, sixteenths, triplets, triplets again, sixteenths, eighths, finish on quarters. Okay, again, a good way, just practicing that technique, getting those hands going nice and fast. Starting off slow with the metronome, building your speed up. So what we're going to do now is we're going to turn those unison hits into drum fills. So we're going to basically just put a bar groove in between each bit, which is going to look like this. Now, the mistake most people make on this is when they get to this first bar, they kind of see all those 4 notes all squished together and they play them too fast, and it ends up going like this. Okay, bear in mind on this bar here, we've got 4 quarter notes. So what we just played counting wise would have gone like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so you've got to keep that counting, keep that speed the same. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so again, the software I use to make this is not particularly conducive to sort of drum music or anything else, and it kind of stretches the bars out and squishes them in to fit them nice and neatly on like the width of the page, which in a way is not a bad thing, because it does make you kind of have to think a little bit more about what you're playing. You've got to look at your note lengths. Don't look at how much the bar is spaced out. Ideally, every bar would be exactly the same length and it would make more sense, but that's not always the case. So if you look at this, you think, okay, still 4 quarter notes, even though they're squished together, they are still quarter notes. So just watch out for that timing. So again, I'll play this through with a metronome, 60 beats per minute. The groove is going to stay the same each time, and then kind of like we're going to use these unison hits as drum fills. It's going to go quarters, eighths, sixteenths, and then triplets. 3 and 4 and. Then we go to the 8th note one. 1, Up next, the 16th note one. Okay. We'll look at three-way unison next. So we're going to do the same kind of thing, but we're going to bring the bass drum in with it now. So it's going to be both hands on the right foot. Playing eighth notes is going to go like this. Again, aiming for one tight sound between all three, not kind of, kind of like differences between your foot playing after or not with your hands. So 1 and 2 and so on. We're going to do the same thing with triplets also. 3 triplet, 4 triplet. Okay, we're not going to do 16ths for this one because that's a little bit fast on the foot. But by all means, have a go. 1, 2, 3, good workout for your foot. And then we're going to do exactly the same thing as we did last time. We're going to play those three-way unison hits as drum fills. Going to go like this. Okay, so the important thing with this is you're really thinking about those three limbs going together at the same time. Obviously, we can do four-way unison as well, bringing in the left foot. Now, we've not looked at the left foot yet. The note for that's going to come up in lesson 6, so it's coming up very soon. And then we'll start to see a few different four-way unison hits there as well. Excuse me. Bear in mind, unison playing doesn't have to always be a whole bar of things together. It can be separate beats here and there. Excuse me while I have a drink. Sorry, losing my voice today. So we've got a two-way unison hit here. Okay, so whenever we're playing a drum groove, there's lots of unison hits going off there. We've got the hi-hat and the bass drum playing there. If we look at this groove, which is known as a 4-to-the-floor groove, very, very common groove, because the bass drum is playing on all 4 beats. So you can see we've got three-way unison here on beat 2 and beat 4, where your hi-hat and bass drum play together. So again, with a groove like this, it's making sure those three all play at exactly the same time. We don't get any kind of flammy sounds between them. Okay, I'm trying to avoid kind of like, kind of like drifting out of sync. So it's just really a bit of thought of when you hit in, of making sure all three things go down together. And as with anything, practice will make perfect. So that's it then for this lesson. Unison hits, fairly straightforward, but they can kind of go wrong. So don't think, oh, that's dead easy, I don't need to worry about practicing that. Work on getting that speed up, because there's times when you've got to get those hands together and it can sound an awful mess if they don't, if it ends up like that. So it's like a pair of traders in a washing machine otherwise, if it ends up like that. So we want to avoid that kind of sound if we want that nice, neat hit. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in lesson 5 coming up soon, which will be more drum fill ideas coming up in the next one. So again, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.